So picture this. There is a 15-year-old girl that's in debilitating pain with her periods. And after 2 cycles in a row where she can't be at school for multiple days during her menstrual flow, she's at home and she's in so much pain. Maybe she's even vomiting, passing out from the severe pain that she's under. Mom makes an appointment with the doctor, takes her in, and the doctor looks at her, does all of her vital checks, and says, "Gosh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I've got the solution for you." He writes her a script and she walks out of the office with what she's told is the solution. But is it? Is this really the solution to our women's health problems? Let's unpack this a little bit. If you're new here, I'm Rita Johnson. I'm the owner of Health and Hormones, and here you'll find all things from fatigue solutions to period help and true gut healing. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. So I just hear this so often from moms and girls, and whether they take the script and they get it filled and they go on the pill for a few months and they notice things are better, or they might notice things are worse. Sometimes they'll start to feel so awful on the pill. They'll gain weight. They'll have all these other issues creep up that were not problems before. Or the third thing that I see often is that they say, well, we're not going to do that. So what do I have left? If all the doctor's giving me is this prescription, what other options do I have? I just want to say that if you've chosen to try the hormonal birth control pill, or if your daughter has chosen that, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. But I want to talk for a minute about what is happening when we're on hormonal contraception. Unfortunately, this is the broad answer that we are given at the doctor's office because of the way physicians are trained. A lot of times, physicians have to do a lot of their own re-education or have their own personal convictions that are just so deep that they have gone down these rabbit trails to see that this is not the only solution for hormonal health problems. However, it isn't until recently that they've really started doing research studies on women's hormonal health. And as a result of that, a lot of that information has been kept out of a lot of hospital systems, medical schools, and the like. And so this is part of the reason that we're in this problem here and now. Unfortunately, it's even common amongst OBGYNs to be using hormonal contraception to solve period problems. So first and foremost, what's going on when we take hormonal contraception in terms of the pill, and I'll talk separately about the IUD in just a moment. The pill is basically a 4-week cis supply where we go through a 28-day cycle. 3 of those weeks is a steady supply of, it's a pharmaceutical form of estrogen and progesterone. And I want you to think of them as just like steady, consistent hormones for 3 weeks straight. And then there's 1 week where it's a placebo. And the placebo pill, because the hormones are being withdrawn, we will see some type of flow. It's not actually your period. It's very important that you know this. It does not then regulate our cycles because the placebo is just from that constant stream of hormones being dropped and withdrawn is why we're having a bleeding episode. But it's very different than your menstrual flow. Alternatively, something like the IUD, which is also being used more and more, has not been well studied on women that have not had children. The IUD tends to be more popular because they say it's a low hormonal option. So perhaps it has a copper IUD or a low amount of progestin. But either way, IUDs have a different set of problems. So they work by causing inflammation in the uterine lining. So that if you did conceive, that uterine lining would be rough and irritated so that baby could not implant in that uterine wall. Obviously, there's other problems with IUDs. Things like metals can be present in them in high amounts, particularly copper, which you won't be surprised. And that can cause things like copper toxicity, which is not something to mess around with. So what else are we to do? If you go to the doctor, your daughter's having issues, you're only given this option. I want you first and foremost to know that there are physicians that are not going to recommend hormonal birth control. And a really great way to find some of those would be looking at something like FEM Health, FEMM, or NAPRO, a NAPRO trained doctor. Or you can look for someone that's trained in restorative reproductive medicine. They are doing more in terms of what can we do to support the cycle, because ultimately that hormonal birth control pill is just covering up what the body is telling us is the actual problem. So it could be things like inflammation. It could be something like blood sugar dysregulation, nutrient deficiencies, cortisol or gut issues. There could be issues with estrogen metabolism, which is feeding back to the gut problems. There could be so much else happening that is causing this acute chronic pain to happen at the same time of the cycle, month after month. But if we just put hormonal contraception on top of that conversation, we're not getting deeper into the real solution. And then what ends up happening is we're delaying true, authentic healing. We're pushing it down the road, perhaps compromising fertility in the meantime as well. Something like endometriosis, which is hallmarked by really severe pain during periods. The longer that goes, the worse the disease advances in that process as well. So if you are fed up and ready for an advocate that's going to help you find those root causes, then I invite you to take a look at, those NAPRO FEM options, or schedule a free discovery call with me, especially with young girls. A lot of times there's a lot we can do in just a 15-minute free discovery call.